fight him.
Like I said before, it's like I want to do that comedians boxing thing that Caleb said, because if I lose, you should beat me. It's obvious. You beat a guy who's like a wannabe Jerry Seinfeld, like that's the easy target. But if I win, it's really embarrassing. So I'm at a win, no decision.
Who are you gonna fight?
I hope to anyone. Like
Who would you?
You're gonna go fight Ben Webb?
No, we're not sumo wrestling.
I don't think there's no one right now in the scene that pisses me off that I would want to fight them.
So
unless it would count as a crime, actually.
There's no one that I want to fight, but there's a few people that have really punchable faces. You know what I mean? Like
I was born with that.
No, not you. There are some people that the way they behave. I'm not going to drop names because that's petty on the podcast. But there's someone who, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. There's someone who went on stage at an open mic one night and decided to chastise us and say he's going to come back with a list of jokes that straight white people are allowed to tell. I'm like, well, go fuck yourself. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Tell him while he's at it, go get a list of jokes that are funny too.
Yeah, exactly. No shit. You should write some jokes that are funny.
Do they own a place of business?
No.
Okay.
They dress like Indiana Jones with Down syndrome.
Why can't I think of it?
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, yeah, do that off camera.
We're Bread and Circuses, by the way. Welcome to the fucking show.
Bread and Circuses. Emphasis on circuses, dude.
That's basically Ali Kareem just Snapchatted me. That's basically all it is. He's probably asking why we haven't had him on the show. Literally, probably.
Ali, man. I fucking love Ali.
Ali has got. I know it's a video. I'm not gonna play it. Ali has got some of the craziest fucking stories about just being from Baghdad and like.
Yeah. Any dude that was in like both battles of Fallujah and like the Iraqi invasion is like pretty fucking crazy. Like.
Because he talks about it on stage and then he giggles and everyone's laughing. It's like, oh, that's a good joke. It's like, that's not a joke.
That actually happened.
He experienced that.
That actually happened. Like everything you're hearing happened from him. And he told me one time, because a lot of his family's in Canada and he came to the United States. He told me that his brother had, he told me his brother had like some kind of like breakdown or whatever and was like running around the streets of Toronto like screaming in Arabic. And
Jesus Christ.
He's like, dude, you do that in America, you get fucking killed.
Yeah, for real, dude.
You picked the right place to be able to have that breakdown.
Canada? What a fucking cucked out country.
Yeah, they won't shoot a random Arab man in the street. Fucking cuck.
Pussies.
Oh, that's how you get 9/11.
That's how we measure.
You don't kill your mentally ill. What's the matter with you?
We got an entire security force that does that for us. All right, they protect and serve. And
on the bright side, on the other side, "Kill Your Mentally Ill" would be a great name for a metal album or a metal band.
Kill Your Mentally Ill.
That's gonna be the name.
That'd
of
be
my
a good
first
name for.
stand-up
That'd be like a
special.
good like Ted Cruz like political slogan. Too.
Ted Cruz 2024. Kill your mentally ill. Oh my god, I love it. Did you see? I love his beard. He's trying to go the Alex Jones route.
I thought he shaved it already.
Did he?
Know him anymore. I don't know, man.
I want to know what was with the stage with the shaved sides and getting
Ted
that
Cruz?
mullet going. Yeah, on Ted.
Did he have mutton chops at one
He
point?
no, he like shaved the side of his head and had long hair flowing down the back like a mullet.
That's what I want.
He's trying to be hip.
To
He's trying to
look
be
like.
hip with the youth.
That's what I want.
Did you ever see like his videos from Harvard when he's 20 something? It's like you can already. It's like he's talking. I'm like, you're already a 42-year-old neocon.
Yeah.
At 20 years old.
He's a Harvard grad, is he really?
Yeah,
he's super smart.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
You can be incredibly intelligent and also be a total jerk off too. You know what I mean? Like
he was just one of those guys that's like, hey, dress casual, and he comes in a button up and khakis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're having a backyard grill. Just come casual.
He's got a suit.
3-piece suit, no tie. It's casual.
He's got a shitty like Target polo shirt on and like a.
I'll never understand like the old people that's like retired and they got that suit on. They wear a suit everywhere they go. bro.
Oh, I mean, that's just how it was back then. You
But-
wore suits everywhere.
Dude, put some fucking sweatpants on. You don't have to work anymore.
I know you don't have to go to the bank like that anymore. Jeez.
I ain't gonna lie. I'd probably wear when I'm retired. I'll probably wear suits out and about just because I love wearing a suit. So,
Really? I hate wearing a suit.
I'm gonna adopt the short sleeve button up and khaki shorts vibe. It doesn't matter the temperature. I'll get a bomber jacket, and I'm gonna flirt with the waitresses at sports bars. That's my vibe.
We're going to Vegas in August, and I keep telling Mia that I'm gonna get one of those like straw fedoras that you see like Stanley wore in The Office.
So my dad lives in Vegas, and so 90% of the people on the strip, they're tourists.
Yeah,
every single person tourists, and Vegas hates tourists,
which is funny, but
because I mean they're annoying, they're talking all the time. But there are a few casinos you can go to that are off the strip. They're cheaper. It's usually locals that go there.
Yeah,
because if you talk to a lot of the bartenders and stuff down on the strip, they don't want to talk to you.
Sure,
they don't care.
Yeah,
but like Uber drivers are like, yeah, we don't go on the strip. We hate tourists. We don't like you people.
That's so weird that like people in cities where like their entire economy is based off of one thing, they always fucking hate the people that like are associated with that. Like,
I mean,
there's a lot of people down here in El Paso where like the military base is like fucking like 65% of like the economy and money that flows through this city.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, I can't stand soldiers, man. I can't stand the people around here.
You know who doesn't hate them though? Is the used car salesman.
Hell yeah, dude.
We just got a fresh load of Dodges.
We just got a fresh load of Dodge Challengers. Here's some 21% APR.
interest. Yeah.
Hey, any pilots in the group? I know a guy who owns a motorcycle dealership. Let's go. But no, like, so the thing is, like, Vegas, surprisingly, the very first 21 and over hotel opened up. It took them this long to finally have a 21 and over hotel.
Seriously, what hotel is that?
It's called the Circa. Their sports book has like 3 60-inch TVs and just tons of them all around. Huge sports book, stadium seating, get food. And the moment you show ID to get in there, they don't have to check it the rest of the time.
That sounds awesome.
And my dad goes up and I was like, give me a double Captain and Coke. That's usually what we drink. He comes out with a 32-ounce cup.
Holy shit.
He didn't measure.
He got
took
a quick
the Coke
trip cup
and the Captain and just started pouring until it matched.
So it's just like a flock of hookers that hang outside of that hotel too. Like they just kind of congregate there.
Well, I don't know, because like I don't think the hookers actually like hang around the strips there anymore. It's just the creepy guys who hand you their business card and you gotta call them up.
Oh,
that's usually how it is.
Honeypot operation.
But I'm glad they have this hotel because the amount of children out, like I'm talking toddlers and babies at midnight.
Why? Because their parents are degenerates?
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Their parents are terrible.
That's what I've heard. A lot of like the people that actually want to have fun there say ruins it. It's like people bring their kids to Vegas. Like, you don't bring your kids to Vegas, man.
No, you bring your kids to Branson. There's a big fucking difference, man.
And bring your kids to grandma's house so you can go do coke out of a hooker's asshole in Vegas, dude.
Imagine you're drunk. You just hit the roulette. All right. You doubled your money. You're stumbling back to your hotel room and you trip over a stroller and now you wake up and you're charged with a hit and run.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just
like,
yeah, I mean, I love embarrassing myself in front of like 6 and 7 year olds, like when I'm drunk just as much as the next guy.
Right.
But sometimes, you gotta get a little break.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I hate it.
Just give one of them an edible and see what the fuck happens.
Because like I'm with my sister and we left the kids at home.
Are you guys from Vegas?
No.
Oh, okay. You're from here, right?
From here, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We left the kids at home because she's like, we're not during the day. Yes, I understand kids during the day, like, hey, you're on vacation, but it's midnight.
Yeah,
we're gambling. We're being horrible people. And you're bringing your toddler out here. They're going to learn a lot of new things and start repeating it.
What time do the bars close in Vegas?
They don't close.
Oh, there's no close?
They don't close.
That's awesome. I wish everywhere was like that, dude.
If you want
No.
I mean, there's probably like a morning that they're closed.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, like 7 in the morning.
Like you can't, like there'll be a breakfast buffet. The gambling doesn't stop. How about that? The gambling doesn't stop. So they'll give you a break. It's like, hey, stop the booze. All right. You gambled enough. Go to the breakfast buffet. Come back. All right. Bars open at 10 a.m. You'll be good. Like
is there a lot of strip clubs on the strip too?
No, I don't think on the strip. They're off the strip, but there is one. The Blue Rhino is one that never closed during COVID. It's the only one that didn't
love
close.
it. They got my business already. They will send you
a Tesla limo for free to pick you and your party up and take you to the Blue Rhino.
They've got they've got my business. They didn't close for COVID.
That sounds like the kind of place that like is got like really high end strippers, and then they also like you can go to a place in the strip club and they make you like a fucking killer like steak and egg breakfast at like 3 in the morning or something.
Like, that's one of the clubs that's best for lonely guys because it's like, all right, because it's like a club, but then there just happens to be naked women around.
Oh, okay.
So you'll go there, you'll dance, you'll talk, you'll drink, and then all right, sweet. I got shot down 29 times, but I got 50 singles, so I guess some action. Like,
so it's like brewskis.
Yeah.
With naked waitresses.
Hey, they got good
you can brewskis. You can almost make out the C-section scars, though, dude.
Brewskis.
I don't think that's allowed there at the Vegas clubs, dude.
It might be encouraged. They get more tips because of sympathy.
That's I don't think
not from this guy.
No tips.
I tip them less.
Like they're trying to put someone through school.
Fair, or themselves. I mean, half the time. Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? It's their profession. Let them do it. I'm just here to have a good time. Like it's.
I was explaining to Mia that Vegas is the one place, not just in the country, but in the world, that you can legally smoke weed, gamble, purchase an AR-15, hire a prostitute, all while not paying state income tax, and that is magical.
You think you could go down there and like hire a prostitute to go into a gun store and buy a gun for you?
I think it'd be worth a try just to see.
Yeah. To definitely not use in a robbery.
It will not be perfect until I could start bartering the drugs for the guns in the store. If I can have the value equal to that item, if I can trade and barter system without credit. That is when it's perfect.
Some places you probably could,
I believe it. I believe it.
Can you barter children? Like, could I have kids and just barter them off for guns?
I think that's called a pawn shop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that's called like Southeast Asia, man.
Okay, so the Pawn Stars, that pawn shop down there.
Fake. Yeah.
It looks like it's some crummy pawn shop like normal.
They're all crummy.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, there's always a line outside, and depending on how long the line is who's working there.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. We see all the people who are big fans of Chumley.
The fat guy?
He's in jail for like, isn't he in jail for like soliciting sex with a minor?
What? No, that's James Charles.
I think he got in trouble for something, didn't he?
Chumley's like actually in jail, and I think it had something to do with sex with a minor.
Let me Google him here.
Who's the Republican that the GOP?
Is that Rick Harrison?
That's the celebrity the GOP had. Is a guy who owns a pawn shop.
Was Rick Harrison? Let's see.
The thing is, he's probably one of the most level-headed guys. I feel like he's one of the most level-headed guys, and he's just having a great time on the show, and everyone around him is insane.
I heard that Chumley guy, like he's really not as dumb as they make him out to be.
All right, March 9, 2016, Chumley's home was raided during the course of an investigation into sexual assault allegations. Found crystal meth, marijuana, Xanax, and multiple firearms.
I don't think that's illegal in Vegas.
Probably not. No. Evidence of possible cocaine was found. Chumley was arrested, but released on bond the following day with his first appearance in court. Blah blah blah. He was charged with 20 felony counts, including drug and weapons charges. David Chesnoff, Russell's lawyer, confirmed that Russell pled guilty to a weapons charge and a gross misdemeanor of attempted drug possession in a deal that cost for 3 years of probation and counseling. That is a fucking steal for 20 felonies. 3 years of probation and then counseling.
20 felonies.
And you walk away with 3 years of probation.
It's like, all right.
That's a steal.
I mean, he works at a pawn shop too, so it's not like he has to worry about having a felony on his record.
Right. Nobody. Well, actually, if you're selling guns, you do.
Do you guys ever like kind of like take note of like the different pawn shops and you want to have like a pawn shop day just to see what's in there? Like going to different ones. And
I used to work at a pawn shop. I avoid those places like the plague.
Yeah, I only take note of pawn shops because it's indicative of how many they are and how close of proximity to a liquor store they are. How close you are to the ghetto.
So like when I used to live in Colorado, they're on like this main stretch of road, and so my dad and I, like, because we just like out one day, it was like, all right, we'll hit them on this side, and when we turn around, we'll hit the others. And there was one, and the main thing was guns.
Hey, that's all right.
But they treated it like they were a gun shop, and they're trying to be snooty about it. I'm like, you're also a pawn shop. Remember that. Humble yourselves, okay? You're not.
I'll never buy a gun from a pawn shop.
I actually have my ARs from a pawn shop.
Really?
It's fine.
So, which one did you get it from?
Did
you go Saul's?
Saul's.
Okay.
Jewelry and Loans.
Saul's a little bit better with guns. I remember I took it. There was one in Millard. I had a Ruger SR45 that jammed every third shot. No matter what I did, I replaced every part on it. I took it apart and cleaned it with a fine tooth comb. It was a gun. I had bought it used, so it was whatever. I couldn't just return it. And I took it and sold it to a pawn shop. They're like, $250. Is that all right? I'm like, $250 more than I'd pay for it. He didn't even look at it, man. He just made sure it wasn't loaded and then put it out for sale. Put it in their back, and they were going to put it for sale.
I mean, yeah, because someone's going to buy it.
Yeah, and you know what? Somewhere, some woman, like her abusive ex, broke into her house, and the gun jammed, and it's my fault she's dead. So
I'd really hope that a woman who has to worry that much about her safety wouldn't buy a shitty pawn shop gun.
Well, she probably wouldn't buy a 45, honestly.
Because like my dad, he bought like the one before. So like I have the Smith & Wesson Sport 2, and I bought that, and it's working fine.
I got one of those too.
And then he got one, but his was like having issues, but mine was fine.
Yeah.
But I bought my handgun from Cabela's. So like I went to a retailer for that.
Yeah.
But one of the pawn shops we went to though, like I walked in, and the moment I walked in, I'm like, I believe that every single item in here was stolen. There's not a single item in here that someone's like, I just want to get rid of this.
Yep. There was, because I used to work at a pawn shop, and you could tell because people would bring stuff in like brand new in the box.
Yeah.
And it was like, clearly you're stealing it. And like, I remember we had a guy that would come in once a week, every Tuesday, like fucking clockwork. And he would, all this shit new in the box was like clearly just stolen from like a Dick's Sporting Goods. And I remember one time I was like, I'm just gonna like, this guy's clearly just wants drug money. I'm just gonna fuck with him. This guy brought in like a $200 GPS system, and I'm like, I give you $20 for it. He goes, deal. Yeah, that's how I know it's stolen, bro. Like, come on.
Oh, okay.
Jesus
Here.
Christ.
Oh, you got some brand new video games still wrapped. They're $60 each, and I'm going to give you $30 for the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Got some brand new video games, but they don't have any of the cases. All right, cool, man.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Is this a piece of bologna with a hole cut in it?
Yeah, no, it's like he would come in, and then we had these kids. They brought in like 3 lawnmowers, and it was right at the end of summer. It's like fall time. So I'm like, all right, like, you know, maybe they ran a lawn care business or something.
I mean, that makes sense.
And, you know, they just want to sell it because they're going back to school or whatever. And then every day for the next week, they brought 3 more lawnmowers in. I'm like, okay, people are leaving these out in front of their houses, and you're just jacking them. Like, this is clear. I'm like, we don't take lawnmowers anymore.
Dude,
sorry, man.
Somewhere out there is somebody that will literally steal fucking anything that is left out, dude.
For real. Someone stole a ladder. And sold it. And he stole it from this Indian guy, for like the country Indian, not Native American, but he owned like a real estate company. And he comes in, and there's these 2 Indian guys, and he goes, "This ladder is mine. It was stolen from right off one of my properties. If you do not tell me the name of the man who sold it to me so I can go and kill him, I will sue you." Word for word. That's what he said. Like, this is the Indian fucking mafia here. And like
I've seen Extraction. I know how it works.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna tell. Like, number 1, I can't tell you anyway. Number 2, now that you told me you're gonna kill him, I'm definitely not gonna tell you. And he's like, well, you will hear from my lawyer then. I'm like, you know what? Fine, call your lawyer and tell him that I wouldn't
tell your lawyer. Tell your lawyer that you were admitted to conspiracy for murder, bro, and tell him if he takes that case.
Judge is gonna see this, be like, you work at a pawn shop? Yeah. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Doesn't every pawn shop have like a security, like a camera and shit, like with recording sound too?
They have cameras, and What people don't realize is when you put your ID and your thumbprint in the system and everything like that, and they record all your shit, when you sell stuff there, they put it in this basket, and once a week on like Monday mornings, someone from the local sheriff's department will come to the store and they'll take all the shit from the basket and they'll run everything through. And all the items that were stolen, if there's anything that was reported missing, they'll run it through the system and see if you. I'm like, you're gonna get fucking like, you're gonna get popped.
I am incredibly fascinated by the pawn shop process right now. This is amazing to me.
Yeah, for real, dude.
I need to start doing this for garage sales.
But like,
imagine rich neighborhoods now, like for garage sales. You got the scared white people in the neighborhoods, and someone that not of their color comes by and they're like, we just do this for our garage sales for our own safety right now.
I fucking hate that people will just nab stuff from the front lawns and stuff all the time too, because like I literally can't walk to like take a fucking walk and exercise, walk in my neighborhood without people like fucking sneering at you and stuff like you're gonna steal their fucking welcome rock from their front yard. You know
the thing about it is like, okay, you're mad at me for doing nothing
for
other than the fact
else,
that like I'm suspecting you of something that might happen when you're the one who's too lazy to just put it in the garage and shut the door.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna, if somebody was at the coming to the pawn shop saying that their stuff was stolen, I mean, your policy should just be, hey, police your shit, man. Like,
right.
It's only one thief around there. You know?
When somebody steals something or when somebody has something that's stolen and they've got the police report and everything, the shitty part is we can give it back to them, but they have to pay what we paid back. Well, I shouldn't say we, because I haven't worked there in like 7 or 8 years, but they have to pay what the pawn shop paid back. And it's like, it's so shitty.
Let me just fudge an extra 0 in there a little bit.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. So it's like you're totally at their will.
Gonna go into a pawn shop. Yeah, that's my PS5 right there. You sure about it? Yeah. It's mine.
You have to have a police report though. So
right here, and it's just notebook paper with the thread still on it because I didn't bother to clean it up when I pulled it out.
You're like, well, what's the name of the cop? It's like Ice-T from SBU. You reported it to him.
It's David Hotchner. Is that the Criminal Minds guy? No, it's not.
The guy from Criminal Minds is tracking down stolen PlayStations now. He's falling on tough times.
Matthew Gruber.
Damn, for somebody to steal like a PlayStation from you too, it's got to be somebody that just came into your house. You know what I mean?
100%.
Somebody's not breaking into your house and just stealing a fucking PlayStation.
Junkies might.
I actually had my PlayStation stolen one time.
Really?
Really?
This was like I was in high school and we come back and like our apartment was not locked. My mom's apartment wasn't locked and TV was missing, other stuff was missing. They stole my PlayStation and they didn't take the games. It was a PS2. They just like unplugged it and took it.
Didn't even take the power cord or nothing?
No, they just took the PlayStation, and I was pissed because I was like, MLB The Show 2010 was in there. That's what Derek Jeter after they won the World Series. Like I was butthurt about it, and then I'm like, oh no, my baseball cards.
Like they stole the last Madden game that still had Aaron Hernandez on it.
They stole NCAA baseball 2006.
So I mean, if they would have stole NCAA 14, the football game, man, that's worth some fucking money.
Yeah, isn't that money? Isn't that game worth like $80 or something?
No, so
I bought it about 6 months ago, and I paid more than I'm willing to admit for it.
Here's the thing. There's a store in Colorado Springs, one of those big like entertainment. They bring in movies, games, stuff store, but you can find good stuff, and they have NCAA 14 locked in a case.
Yeah,
every single
Hennessy
game is on the rack.
NCAA
14 is locked in a case, and it is $59.99.
NCAA 14 is Hennessy at grocery stores in the hood, man.
NCAA 14 is the only thing keeping the Xbox 360 from dropping below $100.
$59.99. That's less than what I paid. For mine, less than half of what I paid for mine.
I bought the NCAA baseball games. All the NCAA games are worth a ton more money than any counterpart.
Oh yeah.
You think now that the NCAA has done the thing where they can athletes can make money now? Do you think that? I mean, that gets rid of that lawsuit.
EA already strike the deal, but I'm just like, I don't feel like
developing it.
I don't feel like it's feasible though, because like you got to pay every athlete. There's like 130
teams.
They don't got to pay them a ton of money though.
Here's the thing: you don't have to pay every athlete. There's going to be a lot of random Joes on teams, but you're going to pay some top athletes.
Sure.
But the thing is,
like Trevor Lawrence.
But imagine this for like NCAA. Who cares? Like they have 192 NCAA Division I football teams. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do all those teams now.
No.
They're going to do the top teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do like the top conferences. You won't see like fucking Louisiana Lafayette.
Hey, Louisiana Lafayette's good.
The Raging Cajuns.
They're like 12-0.
The Raging Cajuns is the best mascot that I've ever heard.
They're 12. They went like 11-1, 12-0. They had a legit season last year.
Do not diss those conferences. I want all offense, no defense. I want 62-48.
That's how their games go. No, man. It was Louisiana Lafayette.
Don't they actually play in the same division as UTEP does?
Maybe. Let me look, because there was a bunch of just no-name teams were like one loss, undefeated. It was Louisiana Lafayette. It was Coastal Carolina. It was Liberty. Was like 10-2, and it was just these teams you'd never fucking heard of.
But that's like with like Memphis. Like Memphis is going like 9-3. Yeah. And their average score per game was 57 or something. Like it was insane.
Yeah. Here's Liberty 10-1, BYU 11-1. Like who the fuck? You're right, the Mormons. Yeah, Cincinnati 9-1. I mean, Cincinnati.
UTEP plays in Conference USA. I don't know who else.
So Conference USA, UTEP was at the very bottom. They went.
They started off strong. They were like 4-1, and everyone was going like, "Dude, how the fuck is UTEP 4-1 right now?"
Everyone playing Dynasty and NCAA is going to choose top team, and then they're like, "No, I'm pretty good. I'm going to be the head coach of a smaller school. You know, we're going to get them to the championship." It's going to take me a few years because we're not going to recognize this, but we're going to get them there.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina 11-1, Appalachian State 9-3.
I think I did that. I had a friend who did that with like Northern Illinois. Like that was his team.
I used to do that. I would take like There's Western Kentucky.
Conference USA has a bunch of teams that always make like the NCAA basketball tournament, but their football.
Yeah, they're terrible at football. They have like
Rice on Old Dominion or in there.
Old Dominion. I thought that's like a freight company.
There, it sounds
Might
like.
As well be.
Is that where they actually get their truck drivers?
Dominion.
If I get a CDL degree from Old Dominion, do I automatically get hired on to Old Dominion?
Isn't Old Dominion like a fucking like military school? No, it's the Citadel.
Yeah, Citadel is the military school. Citadel's Old Dominion is the country band, freight company, and college.
They are a country band. That's right. They say, "I know you ain't in love with him." Yeah, I know that song. Okay.
Old Dominion sounds like a group of people from like a fucking Elder Scrolls game or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like a church. Yeah, like a council.
The Old Dominion are the ones that hunt the heretics of Nye.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta consult the Old Dominion before. Yeah, like that kind of shit. Like,
go forth.
Go forth and consult the Old Dominion. Only they know how to defeat
many physical challenges. Many travels.
Nick, I was gonna ask you, who do you think the Eagles are drafting tomorrow?
Bro, I have no fucking clue. I hope they do not pick up a quarterback, which I don't think they will. But they have I know they traded down and they have like the 12th pick.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go for some offensive linemen, one of the top linemen, because their linemen are super old and they need to replace a lot of them. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think they'll use.
Who's your team?
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, okay.
Titans? What do they have? Like 24th pick or something?
Okay. So here's the thing. They learned very quickly. You can't run the ball the entire time.
No. You can't do that in the NFL.
This is going to be a class with a lot of receivers. So
you can do it if you got it. Yeah.
Well, we don't. Okay. We do need a wide receiver because we have that rookie AJ Brown, who's actually pretty decent. He could probably become something, but AJ
Brown single-handedly killed my fantasy team. I lost $1,000 a year ago because of him.
Well, he's better now. Okay.
So
no.
All right. Well, didn't Ryan Tannehill threw for like a shit ton of yards?
Ryan Tannehill was at least a top 10.
The problem was he killed me. So I lost $200. I didn't lose 1,000. I was up for 1,000. So I had Derrick Henry. And I was in semifinals of the playoffs. I was playing a guy with AJ Brown. Tennessee got on the 1 yard line 3 fucking times. Every single time they threw the ball to AJ Brown instead of handing it off to Henry. I was an 18 or 36 point swing that I lost because of that bullshit. So that's why I hate that motherfucker, AJ Brown.
Why are you a Titans fan, by the way, Jacob?
Okay. So I was actually born in Tennessee.
Oh, you're from where at in Tennessee?
Okay.
Memphis.
Oh, okay.
The year I was born.
Cool.
Year I was born, most murders in the U.S. Thank you very much.
What year was that?
1994. They my mom would talk about how the Memphis mall was one of the best malls she's ever went to, and after you get past the 20-foot high walls with sniper towers, like, you were golden. My dad bought a lifted truck just in case something happened and he needed to get out of the situation. Like, no,
you've lived a lot of places. Were your parents like military or something?
My dad was Navy.
Navy, okay.
So like
Navy based in Tennessee.
Millington. It was outside of that. So like my sister was born in Washington. I was born in Memphis. But like after that, he was done. Like after me, he was done. But like no, I was born in Tennessee, and so for baseball, I'm a Yankee fan. But every single sport has one in Tennessee, but there's no baseball. So all my favorite teams outside of baseball are in Tennessee. So I got the Titans, I got the Grizzlies, I have the Predators. Like, those are my teams.
Okay.
The Titans. Yeah,
And
you guys.
I am fine with the Titans.
With Mike Vrabel.
I am fine because we make the playoffs and I get happy.
I pretty much like all the Philly teams except for I like the Celtics for hockey. So
the Celtics do not play hockey.
Excuse me, the Bruins. My bad.
Celtics do not play hockey.
Brain fart. Yeah, my bad. No,
they've been playing basketball recently like a hockey team.
Yeah, for real. The Celtics have been doing good though.
They just dropped like 3 in a row.
Philadelphia is like my National League team.
Okay.
So because like I was a big Chase Utley fan. Like I love Chase Utley. And people hate him because he broke the ankle or arm of some Mets player. And I'm like, who cares? He was playing baseball and he slid and your guy got in the way. And people are like, he slid off the bag and cleated him. And I'm like, dude, he's just playing the game. All right. He's just playing the game. He's just
I don't know a lot of baseball trivia. I don't follow baseball a lot, but that doesn't surprise me.
That's my number one. That's my number one.
You were like a baseball scout for a little bit, weren't you?
So I was an intern for an organization called Perfect Game, and we're a scout field manager, and the scout part was like 1% of the job.
Oh, okay.
The other part was like I'm scoring the games and making sure like the parents aren't yelling at the umps too much.
Oh, okay.
No. So, but like I did my best because like when I knew that I was like, okay, I'm going to like actually scout these kids. I'm going to take videos of them. I'm going to not just sit
and then
here
you got arrested and put on the sex offender registry. Can't take videos.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking videos of minors. Like the thing is, these kids, because like I played 1 year of collegiate, junior varsity, and AIA ball, and I'm watching 15-year-old kids throw 92 miles an hour, and it really puts your baseball career in perspective when you see these kids do that.
Fair.
Were you a pitcher then, or?
I was a pitcher, and I was a pitcher outfielder when I went to college, and I just, wasn't that great.
Well, it's like Mark Sibbett, I think, played like junior college basketball or whatever.
I should have got a junior.
Wow, really?
He's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, he is tall enough to play like a guard position. So
he said that he gave up on basketball because Kobe Bryant was the same age as him. And
oh my God!
18, watching Kobe Bryant play. He's like, I'm nowhere near as good as that guy.
Dude, I had this kid, one of my soldiers, when I was on my second deployment. And this guy had turned down a full ride scholarship to TCU to go play like baseball there as a pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full ride scholarships don't happen in baseball. You've got to take
scholarship.
He said,
for what?
For base. I don't know if it's. He said he turned down a scholarship to go play at TCU to go join the Army.
I think they're private, so yeah.
So it's TCU. Yeah, it's Texas Christian University, probably a private school.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this kid did that, and we when we were in Kuwait, he had like baseballs and gloves sent to us, and like I would try to catch fucking like throws that this kid would throw, dude. Fuck no, man. I don't want to play. That kid would throw baseballs hard as shit, and he's like, I'm not even in like pitching shape right now. He's like,
fuck you.
I'm probably only throwing like 70, 80 miles per hour right now.
I mean, that's what I was throwing. I was throwing low 80s at my best. My best. And from the outfield, I was probably like mid. mid 80s, but like no, when you're catching kids who are throwing like they're just warming up and it's like 85, you're like, this
yeah,
is
dude.
nuts.
I'd be like, nah, dude. Like you throw them at the wall. Like I'm not. These things.
And so the first time I saw more than 90 miles an hour, I was 16, and I was a late bloomer. Like I didn't like grow beyond 5'6" until I was like 17. Like it was so I'm this short, chubby little 5'6" kid, and they have a kid throwing 92 miles an hour. And the first pitch goes by, low outside strike call, and I'm just sitting there frozen. Like, I hope you know, like I'm not swinging the bat because I'm not touching it.
It's like you get it's like playing pee-wee football, and you like get up against, you're like 12 years old, and you get up against a kid that's got a fucking like beard. He's like on the line, and he just runs you over.
That happened to me all the time. That's why I quit football.
Yeah, this kid was like, throwing those 70, 80s and like kicking the dirt, being like, damn, man, I fucking suck at throwing now, right now. And he said like the highest he ever got clocked was like a real low 90. So I was like, I believed him when he was throwing those. And then like beating himself up. I was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like this through a glove, this fucking hurts. The
fastest I've seen was low 90s, and I got a base hit off it. It was sweet. But like when you get beyond 95, that's when things start to change. At low 90s, you're like, all right, that's moving. It has movement. It's okay, but like I can react to it. But when you're getting above that, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going pro. All right. I'll watch you guys and I'll let them know if you're going pro, but I know I'm not.
I'll be the best guy at the company softball team.
Yeah, exactly.
But I won't. I'll be the guy embarrassing Ted down in shipping. But
I did that one time. I took a guy's shortstop position on a slow pitch softball team. Like that was my highlight of one of my athletic moments, was being able to play shortstop for an inning, and then they go, yeah, you should be there the entire time.
It's crazy how much better people are. Like I remember playing like basketball leagues, and it was like I never played a real organized basketball until I was out of high school, and I remember just playing against guys that were like they played in college and shit like that, and we were all decent players. Like I had some friends that played in high school and shit, but these guys would beat us by 40, 50 points. Like just run people. It's such a different level.
Yeah,
like
my friend
guys,
Tito,
they played it like Doane. It's not like they were at Kansas. You know what I mean?
I played against Doane in high school, and there's a kid who took this pitcher. Like, so we were this high school group that got to go play against different colleges, mostly JUCO and NAIA, but we got to go play different colleges, and we go to Doane, and this one kid's like, yeah, I'm throwing like 85, 87, like I'm throwing pretty hard. And he gets up to the pitch, and I'm playing right field, and I watch this first baseman get up there from Doane. It's 410 to center, and or 400 to center, and there's trees about 30 feet back, and he hit it 20 feet beyond the trees.
Oh my God.
And I'm just in the outfield. I didn't even move. It hit off the bat, and I just turned my head. And I'm like, yeah,
that's a guy at Doane too, man. Like, imagine
oh, do not diss NAIA ball. These kids can play.
What are they doing playing there and not playing at like fucking North Carolina or Oregon or some shit?
It's just the pool of players. So there's so many players that are out there, and only till the last like 5 years or so with social media have kids been able to get noticed by top schools. So a lot of times before, it's not necessarily like they can't play anywhere else. It's just like, it's more like up to you to go try to play. And beyond that, there are certain aspects, like after you get past like who can throw 90, who can field this ball, who can hit this way, there's like certain other factors beyond that, because you become a dime a dozen here and you got to separate yourselves. So sure, these kids can hit 450 feet, but now there's 100 kids that can hit 450 feet.
Right.
So where do you differentiate yourself?
Is baseball like kind of how basketball is, where like over the past like 15, 20 years, the game has like changed a crazy amount just due to like technology and like
100%,
analytics and stuff?
100%. So they're like considering now, like they've been considering like changing rules in the game to not allow analytics into the gameplay. But for the most part, like, yeah, they're using video systems. They're putting wires on people as they play the game to watch their motions. They're doing everything they can to get all the data that they can on these players. And so once you make it to a level, you get all that data taken in. But for like high school kids, how do they get noticed? Like if you're from a small town, how do you get noticed by a top school?
Probably throw fast, I bet.
Well, here's the thing. There's a ton of kids who can throw fast. So you got to throw accurate like other pitches. And so that's where it comes in with like social media where they're like, hey, film me throw 20 pitches where I'm doing fastball, curveball, everything. Maybe I'll get noticed. Because another thing is like with scouts is it sounds bad that I was looking at minors' bodies, but
I mean, it's sports. You kind of got to do that,
like,
man.
I'm
like
seeing,
sports,
type, right?
Like if I'm seeing a 16-year-old baby faced kid and he's 5'9", but somehow throwing 84, 85 miles an hour and he's not even strong yet, I'm like, okay, so he could probably reach 92 by the time he's 20.
Yeah.
So like you're doing that with these kids. And so baseball has been so changed by analytics and it's been so changed by technology that it's.
Well, what's something more that they're looking at now than they are like they did like 15, 20 years ago? Or is it just the fact of exposure? What are they looking at more?
There a lot of mechanics are a huge part of it because they're now being able to differentiate whether a kid's going to need Tommy John shoulder issues. But we're looking at like spin rate, like how do they spin the ball? What's their breaking pitch? Where does it break? How does it look? One of the things like you can't teach though, or like that they haven't been able to see is like when it comes to like plate vision, that's still an observational thing. So you can have a kid throwing 82-mile-an-hour curveballs, but like when you're looking at a hitter, is he able to notice that 82-mile-an-hour curveball coming in? And so there's a lot of different things, but a lot of times, so like when I was at this position, I'm sitting back there at my radar gun. I'm watching these kids, this big kid, 18, full beard already coming in, and he gets up there and this old burly guy, like 6-year-old, comes up and he's like, look at this kid. He can hit it a country mile. You should watch him. He hits it a country mile. And I'm like, thanks. Strikes out 4 times that game.
He's like, he can. He didn't say he would.
It was going to happen.
Thanks for your 1960s scouting report. But this is 2019.
Wasn't there a movie about? It was a movie about that. It was like Moneyball or something like that.
Moneyball was about the analytics for like money value.
Yeah.
So like, cause like they're like, oh, the kid can hit, the kid can do this, and then he's like, but does he get on base? And they're looking at all the stats, and that's what they brought in that guy Pete for. He was bringing in all these obscure stats, because like that's the thing now is like if you look 10 years ago, batting average was still huge, wins were still huge for pitchers, but nowadays like Jacob deGrom's the best pitcher in the league. He has some of the fewest wins because the Mets are just a garbage of an organization when it comes to good pitching.
Yeah.
Because like Bob Gibson, when he pitched, like his best season, he had like a 1.12 ERA. They're averaging 1 run a game on him, and he went 22-9 because the St. Louis Cardinals just sucked for those games. And same with Jacob deGrom. So like they're watching all these guys play, and there's a lot of stats. Like I coach 14U baseball, and I have these kids like, but he's like leading in batting average. I'm like, I don't care about batting average. What's his OPS, man?
What's an OPS?
Yeah.
See, you're not a baseball guy.
I'm a baseball
so you don't
retard.
know
at least I know enough about baseball to have a conversation about it. Like I know what you're saying right
Thanks
now.
for shitting on me.
When it comes to
my older brother.
At least I know enough.
No. You know more about
moron.
You know way more about basketball than I do, but I only know a little bit about baseball, or because my older brother.
Like, what's the comparison? Like, am I like who's like the top like economist or top like scientist talking about their field? That's like me with baseball.
It's like a Brett Weinstein.
Like
the microbiologist. Yeah, microbiologist.
Even though he's been wrong about I'm just going to use Neil deGrasse Tyson because he had the show and like we loved him until we realized we were grown up and he was an idiot. But he was better
than Bill Nye.
Bill
Nye's actually
an actual idiot. Neil deGrasse Tyson's still smart.
Neil deGrasse Tyson knows a lot about astrophysics.
He does. So like,
astrophysics is one thing, and fucking knowing shit about
other stuff. That's my thing. Is it's like you can be super intelligent on one subject. That doesn't mean you're well read on everything else.
Yeah,
you know
but like that's the thing. Like, so when I talk to people about baseball, it's not that I'm saying like I know everything about baseball. It's like to the average fan, I'm coming across as like this beyond knowledge because I'm saying all this different stuff. But like OPS it's very simple, Caleb, for you. It's on base plus slugging.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Is that like
your on base percentage plus your slugging percentage? And it basically is like, what's your offensive production? It's a good metric for your offensive production. Like, I don't care about batting average because you could hit a lot of like crappy duck fart hits that just plop over the infield, and that's counted as a base hit. But a guy who's batting 240 could have more offensive production than a dude who's batting 320. So
that sounds to me like in basketball, like not just looking at somebody's like points per game, but looking at the shooting percentage.
Basketball's got something similar. They got what's called a plus minus. So it's like, how well does your team actually do when you're on the court?
That baseball developed that.
Yeah.
Because that'll take into account like assists and stuff too.
I mean, you'll see guys go off for like 36 points and they'll have a negative plus minus because they were such a ball hog or they had a bunch of bad shots.
Carmelo Anthony?
Carmelo Anthony is the definition. Andrew
Russell
Wiggins
Westbrook's
is another
like
one.
that too.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. Andrew Wiggins was another one. His rookie year, he came out and he scored a ton of points but it was like they're all empty points. They're getting beat by 20 points when he's going on.
Yeah, but is he strong in the lane?
Yeah, can he drive the lane?
Can he drive the lane?
Does he hit his free throws? Free throws win games.
I mean, they do.
Also, baseball has WAR, which is basically like, how good are you overall? So, but like when it comes to basketball, I love the classic stuff like, free throws win games.
Yeah.
You lose by 2 points because you missed 3 free throws or something. Yeah. But it's like, coach, you do know, like, we were like 10% from mid-range.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like it's not just the free throws that lost the game.
Yeah, we lost by 3 points, but everyone was shooting like below 20% for threes.
Well, it's like you see like a football game where the kicker misses like a field goal to send the game into overtime, and it's like, it's easy to blame the kicker, but how about the 3 interceptions or the defensive meltdowns?
Yeah, for real, dude.
Like, there's a lot of issues.
Come on, man. Why'd you put through the uprights?
Football. I think football is one of those sports that's like, I maybe baseball too, but I don't know as much about baseball as football. But like, football is definitely like the teams lose the game. Like, what I mean?
Very rarely can you point to a football game where one guy single-handedly cost his team a game. I mean, it happens.
Those end up on like ESPN highlights.
Yeah.
Like 6 years. Really?
Yeah. Because like it's hilarious with like football though, because like fans will be mad. It's like, he missed this field goal. He's the most hated man here. And I'm like, and I look up the game, like he missed a 51-yard field goal.
It's not like a chip
15 yard.
Yeah. It's like Chicago Bears fans,
35 mile an hour wind. Yeah.
So like with baseball, the thing. So other than the playoffs, like, because football is like, okay, you lost the game. It's like, oh crap, no, what are we gonna do? We got to reorganize the entire week. Baseball's like, that sucks. All right, get them tomorrow.
Yeah,
basketball is kind of like that too.
That's why it's hard for me to get into baseball, because it's like I feel like there's more at stake with football, because it's like, you get 1 game a week, 16 games. You can lose 1 or 2, but you start getting into 3, 4, 5, 6, then you're in trouble. And it's like baseball. Drop 9 games in a row, and it's bad, but that's
what was so exciting about the shortened 2020 season, because it's like we cannot drop now. And
why doesn't baseball just do that as a standard? Is it just because they need to make the money from people going to games or something, or what?
I don't want to hear the sacrilege from you about shortening the season.
TV revenue,
but
it's 160.
I mean, the football season is still pretty short, but like, I mean,
they added a 17th game.
Hey, I know they didn't. The players were pissed.
They've got to add 2 more roster
All right, here's
spots.
my idea for football. I talked about this. Okay, we're going to increase the roster size.
Which they should.
By 20 people.
Well, I don't know about 20.
20 people.
Hear me out.
That's
hear
like
me out.
You have a football fucking nation there.
You need at least 3 quarterbacks. All right, you got your starter. He's going to take you 2 quarters deep. Then you got your relief. He's going to take you in for a few plays. You got your closer. He's going to finish it out.
That would actually make it kind of interesting.
I
think that'd be interesting if they had relief people come in.
Like you have your Peyton Manning just passer types the entire game. Then all of a sudden you bring in a guy who just is an option rushing fast dude.
He closes out the game. Honestly, that could make things more interesting. I think football's already interesting, but imagine that. Like, you've got like your Tom Brady type, Peyton Manning type players for the first quarter or for the first half, and then end of the game, crunch time, you send your triple option guy in, and he just wears the defense when the defense is worn down, and you run all over him.
Then you bring in your closer and you just throwing darts.
What if you're even doing that? What if you're doing that in reverse though? Because those power style football that wears down the defense.
You get your
last quarter. You're bringing in fresh fucking just receivers that can just sprint down the field fast.
Exactly. You're thinking like, all right, where are we at?
And
all right.
Do you play your backup defensive backs in the first half? You know,
it completely changes the game.
The strategy.
You come in and you're like, all right, they're tired. You get your fastest receivers. They may not catch the ball, but they're your fastest.
Because it's going to go this way eventually. Eventually, there's going to be 18 games, right? How about every player? You have 18 games. Every player has to be inactive for 2. At least 2 per season, because the NFL they've got to have 7 inactive players, right? Like that's part of the roster rules for on game day. So how about 18 games and every player has to sit 2 regular season games, and it can be because of injury, it can be because he got sick, or it could just be because he's a healthy scratch, but he has to sit 2. So what 2 from the active roster? So he can't sit on the PUP list for 6 weeks and then come in and be fine. But so how about like? Teams would have to play different. You'd have to actually invest in a backup. You couldn't get some scrub undrafted rookie. Mm-hmm. You'd have to have a decent backup quarterback to come in and play relief for 2 games. I think it would make things more interesting. You have to have a
backup quarterback
kicker.
That probably make a little bit more money for sure.
So here's another thing. NFL overtime is garbage.
Sure.
Yeah, it's terrible. But like so baseball, they're not doing the extra innings. They're experimenting. The extra inning rules for MLB is stupid. It's once you get done with your 9, you put a runner on second, you get 1 out, and you start from there. And I think that's dumb. Either you play the game normally, but they're experimenting with the Pioneer League, which is an independent minor league game.
They want to make the game faster.
And what they're doing with the Pioneer League is once the 9 is done, it's still tied. It's sudden death home run derby.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Imagine for football, sudden death field goals. But here's the thing.
That'd be fucking cool.
From 60 yards out.
But once your kicker's done, like you go from like 25, 35, 45, 55. But once he's done and like it's still tied, new guy.
Oh, that's almost like a soccer shootout, dude.
Hockey.
The shootouts are fine. Like outside of like basketball, because like generally you can like go for like double overtimes are like rare to come by. Like outside that, like your football, your baseball, soccer, hockey.
Basketball overtimes are fun though.
Because like
basketball overtimes, I think basketball overtimes are fine.
Yeah, they are. So like I'm saying for the sports like baseball, football.
I like college football overtime too though, because after 2 overtimes in college football, you can't kick extra points. You got to go for 2.
Yeah.
I think those are fun too.
But like it's stupid like the NFL, because it's just like, all right, if you score first, you win. It's like, well, don't you give the other person a chance?
The NFL definitely needs to experiment around with that, because there's been some teams that have been screwed by that. Like,
to their credit, they fixed it a little bit because they said a field goal won't win it for you. So if you kick a field goal on the first possession, the other team
because like that would be the thing to do.
The NFL also
it used to be the game was decided by a coin toss.
Yeah,
and then the offenses got so high powered, it was like, well, we can't do this anymore.
Right.
The NFL has that issue though, where like a lot of people complain that the games go on for too long, so they need to like figure out rules to like kind of speed the games up a little bit.
Fun fact, because they talk about baseball being boring, football has more inactive time than baseball.
Yeah, because of huddles and stuff like and injuries and stuff like
timeouts, TV timeouts during televised games.
I hate TV timeouts. Just put it on the walls.
Seriously, like a lot of them are starting to figure out that like they can play TV timeouts during the games. So like they'll put like in a little box at the corner of the screen, there's a commercial going and the announcers are muted out. And then you get the game still going on.
So like for baseball, like behind home plate, a lot of those screens you see with ads, they're green screens for TV.
Really?
So they'll be different ads. I mean, I don't think they're green during the game, but like they're showing different ads depending on the region you're in watching it.
Sure.
But that's also if you're not within blackout region. So imagine like trying to watch football and you can't because you're not within the right state.
I don't try to criticize advertising too much when it comes to sports, because it's like I think the games are better when they make money.
I'm not lectured enough. I need to be lectured more, and so I need the ads to tell me. Like I'm so glad that Audi tells me that talks to me about equality with women. I'm so glad it took a European car company to do that.
I loved when COVID was like first starting And it was like, in these trying times, it's important now more than ever to know that Frito-Lay is on your side.
Yeah,
remember,
like you know what'll solve all of these racial police protests? A Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. That is gonna be peak 2021.
You're
gonna
see 2020,
yep,
dude.
No,
that
20,
fucking commercial. No, that was actually a thing. Remember? They
What?
actually had that.
What?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
what happened?
Kylie Jenner, like there was a commercial and like police were lining up and people were lining up, and it's somehow during the day in California.
Right.
Like it's not at night. All right.
Yeah.
And Kylie, it was Kendall. Kendall Jenner like walks out, goes up to police and just cracks a Pepsi.
It gives it to him. Don't they all
That
like
can't be
scold him
real.
or some shit? It's fucking real, dude.
But it wasn't realistic because like the tab just instantly did that. Like she's not like trying to fidget with it like you normally are trying to break
she
a
didn't
nail.
break a nail doing it.
Snickers should do a commercial where like one of the bystanders of the George Floyd murder gives Chauvin a Snickers and he's like, "You're not you when you're hungry," and he just steps off his neck.
Do they need to give should 5-Hour Energy do one for Kyle Rittenhouse? Like you need to be alert.
You need to be far away.
That's so. You know what?
You need to be alert and ready.
What's fucked up is that literally the fucking companies like this would probably try some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Would do some shit.
You want to be alert. You want to be ready. You want to be active for any moment. Like Kyle Rittenhouse, drink Rockstar energy drinks.
Remember that Gillette commercial where that big fucking ogre caveman white guy was like going, "Oh yeah," that girl walking by the street, and the heroic black man comes around like, "Hey, relax, man." And everyone's fucking and society's fixed.
Was that like that was like a meme for a while?
That's a meme.
It's a meme, but it was a commercial.
Oh,
yeah, it was an actual commercial.
Well,
yeah, that was
right.
that was that controversial Gillette commercial.
Gillette, I don't even like. Here's my thing, man. We stream, so like we watch the same 3 commercials every fucking commercial break.
Yeah,
and
real.
The one that pisses me off is that it's like a 90s rap song. They made a parody. It's about ice cream though.
Scoop.
Scoop. There it is. First time it was funny, and now it's like I've heard it 100 times, and I'm literally about to shoot my TV if I hear it again.
You know what? The fact that you hate the American spirit.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Scoop, there it is.
Scoop, there it is the American spirit alive and well.
Yeah,
today.
I bet you're basically complaining about singing the fucking pledge in the beginning of school, dude.
I remember when like that was like a big thing to do, and then like for some reason we just stopped, and it never crossed my mind. And they tried to reamp it in my school. They're like, "All right, we're gonna start doing it again." 3 weeks later, nope.
We did it in elementary school. It was daily.
Right.
In middle school, I think it was like every other day, and then high school was once a week. It was like Monday. They're like, one pledge is good. You don't need to reaffirm every day.
It was funny though, because like I went to a small town school, and our classrooms there was like a space in between that you can walk in between to switch classes usually.
Yeah, we had that.
And so like teachers would share the space, obviously. And so like the history teacher and the English teacher, they shared their like little classroom area. And one time he would pull pranks on her all the time. And one time everyone went, and he was like, "All right, everyone, she's gone. We're going to flip everything upside down." So they go in, they're flipping everything upside down, desk, all that different stuff. And she comes back, and give you context, she's Asian.
Oh no.
And she goes, "All right, who did this? Who did this?" And everyone like wouldn't say anything. She's like, "All right, whoever comes help me, I'll give you a snack." And my history teacher goes, "Rice."
Oh my God. Did he get fired?
He did not. He is the greatest teacher we've ever had. And he's actually really good at poker. He would go to Vegas for tournaments and come back with like 10 grand. I don't know. That number could be made up, but he was good.
I had a teacher. He was a U.S. government teacher, and he was also a football coach. And I remember one time we were doing this drill and we were hitting the pads, and he's like, "You better get low or you're going to get knocked on your ass in a game." But that's not it. You want to know what's worse? I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I brought a gun to practice." And I went to a school that was shot up, and this was less than a year after the school shooting. And he goes, "If you don't get low enough," and then he just like makes a finger gun at us and just goes, boom, off. He's like, "Your head's gone."
Oh, that's a little rough.
And this kid's like shaking his head, and he's like, "Too far?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I really brought one, so you better fucking get low."
Jeez,
I remember we were talking about the Black Plague and about how if you got it, it was basically a death sentence in a U.S. government class. And I remember him being like, He's like, he's like, now think about it. I want you to think that today was your last day, like your last day on earth. You're gonna die tomorrow. What would you do? Would you spend it praying with your family like a pussy, or would you go out and like party? And I mean hard, like try hard drugs for the first time, rape somebody. What would you do?
And public education.
My favorite teacher by far.
History teachers are on a whole other level of fucking extra, dude.
You mean coaches with college degrees?
Yeah, that too.
Just bringing a gun. That's like I had so our football coach had to coach our first season of baseball, and we sucked. Like we were 0-15, and during one game, he told us to grow sacks. Like he's like, "You guys."
Where did you go to high school at, Jacob?
Fort Calhoun.
Oh, you went to Fort Calhoun?
Fort Calhoun.
Damn, after we get done recording, man, I because you're born in 94, I didn't ask if you knew a couple people from there, because I was in the reserves with a bunch of Fort Calhoun people.
Probably. But like, so he told us to grow sacks, and then he wound up winning the football championship for Bellevue West.
The Fort. We here at the fort.
I went back to my town because I worked in Blair for a little bit, so I drive through Fort Calhoun. I went back and I drove through the high school, and they took down our victory bell.
That's
we had a bell, and they took it down. We must not have been winning a lot of games.
It was a shame. It was more of a painful reminder. It's like how Long John Silver's has that bell when you have good service.
Hang on.
You never ring.
Do not diss Long John Silver's as a fantastic treat for anyone. It is not terrible.
Terrible place.
You get the chicken, not the fish.
Terrible place.
And you get extra crunchies. I'm gonna get extra crunchies and hush puppies.
KFC or Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane sauce is terrible. Like the only thing they have going for them is the fact that there's like a lot in the toast and the sweet tea. But other than that, like the cane sauce is terrible at Raising Cane's.
I don't think it's that bad.
No,
I like the cane sauce, but the coleslaw is terrible there for sure.
You sub coleslaw for extra toast.
Yeah, that's easy. That's a beginner mistake. I had a friend who's
I don't like eating a lot of bread, so I usually just eat the coleslaw and hate myself. So
I throw the coleslaw
you can hate yourself and also taste good things.
I don't even give the coleslaw to my dog. I had a friend who had a mom with really bad OCD, and she would get like fixated on certain restaurants. So he ate Long John Silver's for 10 days straight once when he was
Jesus
like
Christ.
Was he pooping every hour?
You would think so, or he would just constipate.
It's just liquid at that point.
He was 13, so it's not like he had a job where he could just go out and buy something different or make his like
the most like
terrible.
The most like in a row I've had of like any fast food place was when I was in the South. I had Cookout. Which, if Cookout was in any college, so Cookout is like this place, and you go, and it's a smorgasbord of different items: cheeseburger, quesadillas, hot dogs, hush puppies, chicken strips, barbecue.
Is it terrible?
Chicken. Oh, it's good.
Really?
It's good. So you get like the tray, and it's like pick your main item, double cheeseburger, but you gotta tell them like add cheese, ketchup, mustard.
Sure.
And it's like, what's your secondary items? And I was like, oh, give me a quesadilla and some mini corn dogs.
Oh, so you can do that?
Yeah, and then large drink. All right, you're told $6.
That sounds like a great place to go just high out of your fucking mind.
I went there 4 nights in a row, and then I couldn't poop for another 3 nights after that.
Jesus Christ.
I felt so terrible, and I wasn't going to the bathroom. Like, I don't think it's a good idea anymore.
I have IBS, right? And I went.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, I remember I was constipated for like 3-4 days one time, and I went to the doctor, and they're like, okay, we can do one of two things. Like, you can take like natural like stool softeners and shit and try to push it out, or we can put you on this medicine. Now this medicine's got some nasty side effects. Like, you might want to take a couple days off, because like we're talking like hallucinations.
Jesus Christ.
Like falling asleep while driving and operating machinery kind of shit. They're like, so try and do it naturally, and if it doesn't work, come back to us. So, and preferably like on a Friday, so you can get this over with over a weekend. So I'm like, okay. So I took stool softeners for a couple days. It kind of helped, but it not really. And I'm like, you know what? Before I get put on this, methamphetamine for my fucking digestive system, I'm going to try one more thing. And I went to De Leon's. Within 3 hours, My constipation was completely removed from my system.
Doctor recommended.
De Leon's
9 out of 10.
Cure.
9 out of 10.
It's funny. I fucking love De Leon's too, man.
It's so
De Leon's
good,
has
man.
some pretty legit burritos.
It's so good, man. We don't get even though my girl's Mexican, we don't get Mexican food in our house much because she doesn't like it.
I literally live in like the region, but like of Texas, Mexico, where burritos were invented too.
Oh, nice.
So like you get some fucking legit burritos down here in El Paso. But like going to De Leon's, that's like, dude, those are just a sign of approval. Those are good burritos, man.
You can roll into South Omaha just about anywhere and get a good burrito. You know what I mean? If you know where you're looking. Like,
yeah, you gotta know where you're going. You gotta know where you're going. There's some Mexican restaurants that I'd go to in Omaha and be like, this isn't really all that good, but
when you hit like the West Omaha Mexican places, yeah, like the Tex-Mex type shit. But like if you hit like Don Gabby's or Victor's and stuff like that, that shit's fucking bomb, man.
I don't know, I'm a big cilantros fan myself.
La Mesa.
I want, yeah. What's that new place? It's like Javi's Tacos or something. They put one out in West Omaha.
Fuzzy's Tacos?
No, Javi's.
Oh.
It's like Javi's. It's like new, and I try to look at it because like I'm just melt the cheese, man. Just give me meat and melted cheese.
Sure.
It'll be good. I don't want none of that.
And a quesadilla?
None of that stuff on there. None of those vegetables.
Oh, that's what makes it good, though.
I don't know if that's true.
That's what makes it.
Fan of that.
You know what was really good, Nick? Was that time we made carne asada.
Yeah, dude, that was legit carne that we had, man. We went down to South Omaha at the grocery store. Mm-hmm.
So talk about racist small schools. One of our projects. One of our projects we had to do for Spanish class. So I was in Spanish 3, and one of the things we had to do was like you either A, can go to a restaurant and order in Spanish so you can look like an asshole. You could do a project on like some Hispanic Latino movie hero, something, I don't know. Or you could go to, or would you do what we did, and we would go to a Hispanic market in South Omaha, buy a bunch of food, and then bring it back. And apparently we were supposed to ask them and like do conversations in Spanish. We did not do that. We walked in, grabbed the sweets, paid for it, walked out.
Just got the candy. There's nothing you had to actually
in my experience, even if you speak pretty good Spanish to them, like but they see most of the people there see you're white, they just speak to you in English. They don't even bother to speak to you in Spanish.
I worked at Omaha Steaks for a little bit. So like when COVID hit, I had to like leave my internship and I needed a job. And so I came and I worked for Omaha Steaks, and half the people are Hispanic and they're all speaking Spanish. And one of the girls there, like I was talking to, and like I was like, I can pick out words.
Sure.
I just can't conversate in it. But there's Cubans, there's Mexicans, there's Hondurans, they're all over the place. And
Cubans speak Spanish is, dude. I have to tell. I've had a couple Cuban people that I've like spoke Spanish with, like at work or when I was working up in Omaha. And I'd have to tell them to like slow down. They speak way too fast, dude.
Well, these Cubans were speaking slow.
Maybe they were on drugs.
But it was like a slurred. Like how like Spain does it, how they kind of like slur their words together.
Yeah.
Spaniards have the Z's. They have a lisp. The Cubans and then I don't know, Puerto Ricans are bad about this too. They just leave out parts of the word.
Yeah.
So like instead of saying like "cómo está," they'll be like "cómo está."
Yeah, and it's like, look, I'm a colonizer. Okay, can you like not? You gotta say all the words to me. And so like I would like. So she would like try to teach me, like I would like say this stuff back. She's like, "Oh wow, that's like really good. Like how you do that?" And I'm like, "Great. I'm not gonna remember it after this." So
we had to do when I was in community college, we had a service learning project, and we had to pick like a religion or something like that, and like visit it culturally, like a cultural thing, and visit that like a temple or whatever. And we picked Hinduism, and our group, we went to the Hindu temple here in Omaha, and I am now banned from the Hindu temple, not for anything I did. So we went there, and we show up, and they're out. Me and this dude, I picked this dude up who was in our group because he lived up the street from me, and we drove there, and we were there like 10-15 minutes late, and the Indian dude comes out, and he's like starts yelling at us because one of the girls in our group was smoking a cigarette. He's like, no smoking at the temple. He came out to yell. And then he sees that she has a hamburger in her hands. And now, mind you, cow.
Oh, no.
You do not kill the cow in India. That is the biggest no-no. Like, that's like.
From how it's been described to me from the Indian people I know, like it's like killing a cow there would be like somebody like just openly eating like a fucking dog leg in front of you.
Except
like
worse. Except worse.
People would be pretty pissed off if you're just there like fucking munching on like a dog.
Imagine like, so the best comparison I can make is like either like drawing the Prophet Muhammad, or like if someone were to come to the US and shoot a bald eagle and then just fucking start cooking it over a fire. Like that's like that kind of shit. And I remember this motherfucker's eyes got so big. He's like, what are you eating? I was like, oh Jesus, let's go. And he's like yelling our license plate numbers out and shit, telling us to never come back.
What a dickhead. Because like all the people, like the Indian people I knew up in Omaha would be like, yeah, man, it's like we can't stop other people from doing it. We just don't do it ourselves.
It is kind of disrespectful to bring it there, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to a Hindu temple for sure.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It's a big no-no.
I had a neighbor growing up that was an Indian guy, and he was just the most Americanized Indian guy I'd ever met. I remember there was a summer he lost his mind. I remember I left to go to work one time, and I remember I came back from work, and he had built a gazebo in his backyard.
Nothing's more American than a gazebo.
Nope.
Dude.
And he would sit out there and get hammered on Bud Light.
When he watched like football games too.
Yeah, he'd scream at football games. And his wife came out and she's like, "Can you guys keep it down?" And he goes, "Take your top off or go back inside."
There was a video I saw. It was like some like British blogger is talking about his travel, and he was in India. And one of the guys like, "You're from England? You're from England?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the guy's like, "Come back. It sucks here. Take over again." It sucks.
That's fucked up.
And I had a friend who stayed in like India for 9 months, and we FaceTimed him. And
what was he doing there? Was he like foreign exchange or something?
No, so he worked for.
He wanted to get COVID.
He worked for
really
a foundation in DC, and he had to go out there, and he's out there, and like we're FaceTiming. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's great. Like we're experiencing all this stuff," and like he had a great time. Like he experienced a lot, and like it's great. We're doing all this stuff. He's there for 3 months, and I'm like, "Hey, it's just us. Like you can tell us the truth. Like how is it?" And he's like, "It's pretty dirty. It's."
Well, like
yeah, that's foreign countries in general.
Ganges is supposed to be like sacred, and it's just like the most filthy river that like I've heard from people that have been there. Like just the most disgusting.
I would.
Like
sounds like the
Missouri River look drinkable.
Yeah, I was gonna say sounds like the Missouri River, dude.
I was in Cologne, Germany, and if it's within arm's reach, there's graffiti on it. On any building, if it's within arm's reach.
Paris is bad too. Paris is dangerous, from what I've heard.
That's like, don't they like? Isn't the Eiffel Tower still gated off or something?
Probably. Fuck, I don't know.
Probably.
So is I mean, shit. So is most of the U.S. though. Like
so is DC. It's just. Hey,
yeah, Brooklyn is literally like the graffiti sucks in Brooklyn too. Like it's not even like cool graffiti. You know what I mean? It's
like
just
like somebody talented if you're going to do this.
Somebody wrote the word stripe and spelled it wrong in like some shitty white spray paint.
Stripe, STRYP, 2 P's because it's a long vowel. If there's 1 P, and
I swear, man.
Yeah, DC's still gated off. I think. I don't know. Biden's not even in the White House, so why does it matter?
That's Biden's.
He's in a studio down the street.
Biden's gonna fix it. He's gonna get everybody vaccinated.
Yeah, DC's gonna be their own state now, so they can.
They're not.
No, they're not. Senate's gonna kill it.
That won't pass. I seen this video of these people that signed their kid up for today. It was these people that signed their kid up for an experimental COVID vaccine trial. First off, what kind of parent does that with their 2-year-old, right?
For the clout, man.
Yeah. Well, and then they're interviewing these people, and they're doing a Zoom interview with their local news channel. They're in their home by themselves, and they've still got masks on.
Like a lot of the parents with young kids, we have to remember, like these are like the millennial parents now.
Yeah.
So this is for the clout, for the likes.
For the likes.
For the likes.
Like we got our kid vaccinated. She grew a 3rd fucking arm and she got full-blown AIDS, but god damn it, she won't get COVID. So
at least they're COVID safe. That's all they can care about.
The only thing.
because like there's like I can't remember what state it was, but they're forcing the track athletes to wear masks while running, and several athletes passed out.
Fucking stupid.
They were sprinting and then they get to the finish line and they just boom, face first.
Didn't pretty much all of like Syracuse's like girls basketball team like transfer out of the school because of like all the dumb shit they were doing for COVID? Like the entire basketball team.
I only watch Real Sports, so I don't know what that is.
No, it's like, I mean, people are just like when do you want they don't want it to end. I mean, you see, there's no reason that people who are even by the most strict circumstances, there's no reason that people who are fully vaccinated shouldn't be able to gather without masks on. But they're still saying they shouldn't. I'm like, why? There's no rhyme or reason. You're showing your true color. The mask's been taken off, no pun intended. And you just want to control people. That's all there is to it.
Just remember, like, there are people who waited for the CDC to say, like, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you can finally go outside without a mask. And they're like, oh, finally.
And there's some who still didn't.
And they can vote.
There's some who still didn't.
And they
I feel like I was pretty careful when it came to the COVID stuff, and
I wasn't.
I'm not quite as critical about about the COVID stuff. Just, I don't know. I kind of try to take more of a middle ground approach to it. But even I wouldn't wear masks outside because I'm like, there's no fucking reason to. Dude.
Or like you're by yourself in your car and you have a mask on.
Those people, everyone that drives with a mask on in the car drives like 10 miles under the speed limit.
Get this, dude. I got a fucking stand-up bit about this, man. About seeing fucking people driving around on motorcycles with fucking masks on, but not helmets. Like, what the fuck is that, dude?
It's like I
have a whole stand-up bit written about
that. It's like the people go outside and they pull their masks down, take a puff from their cigarette.
Yeah, they smoke their cigarette.
Yeah,
dude. Because like I'm talking to people, it's like, look, if they require me to do this, I'm not going to start doing that. And they're like, you never started wearing the mask in the first place. How do you?
I was at Mall of America during like the height of the COVID thing, like when the cases are like at an all-time high in Minneapolis, right? And this is how little we gave a fuck about it, clearly. We were at the Mall of America, though. And I remember I went into the bathroom to pee, and I turned around and washed my hands. And it's due to COVID-19, we are restricting access to our sinks. I'm like, oh, so I can't wash my hands now. This is how we fight a virus. We deny people the ability to clean their hands.
When I was doing DoorDash during this shit, it was fucking terrible because all these restaurants had their bathrooms closed. So like I'd be doing DoorDash for like 9 hours out of the day, and I'm like, bro, I can't find a place to use the bathroom while I'm doing deliveries.
I turned the sink on over the stupid paper shit. I'm like, I'm not fucking not washing my hands because everyone's abandoned reason and common sense.
I went to Target, and so like if I went to Target like one time, and like I don't wear a mask, and I go into Target and like so if they wore a blue polo, they're asset control. That's their security. They wear blue polo, it's asset control. And it's just some college kid. He's like, hey, you need a mask? And I'm like, no. And he's like, but you need one. I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, okay. And I just walk by. I go in there another time, and it's this cranky woman who I used to work with because I used to work at the Starbucks and the Target. And there's this cranky woman.
Which one?
132nd in Maple.
Oh, okay. That's not mine.
And she was like, hey, you need a mask. And I'm like, nope, I'm drinking. See, I have a drink in my hand. I don't need a mask if I'm drinking. I had a Monster Energy drink. I'm like, nope, I'm drinking. She's like, no, you need a mask or I'm going to get security. And I'm like, that's cool. And I keep walking. And as I'm walking, there's someone, they're putting stuff on the shelf, and I hear over the radio, there's a customer without a mask on in the store. If you could see them and alert security, and we make eye contact. And she goes right back to putting stuff on the shelf. They don't care.
I remember
they don't care.
That reminds me, dude. When I used to work at Lowe's, there was this guy that was just like a career criminal that somehow wound up working at Lowe's, like meth addict and shit. I remember one time he was sitting outside in his Lowe's uniform right outside the garden center smoking a cigarette. And this lady comes, this old woman that worked there comes up to him. She's like, you're not supposed to be smoking on company property. And he went, you know what? I'm on my fucking lunch, Diane. So why don't you go be a cranky old bitch inside?
Didn't he get fired like immediately after that or something?
No, he got fired because he went to jail for meth.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a very Nebraska crime.
They never actually fired him. They just stopped scheduling him. They didn't want to go through firing him.
Jeez, I'm trying to think. So like, there's like another time I went to Shield. If one store that's like okay with like the no mask thing, even though they have signs at Shields.
Yeah.
Shields doesn't care.
Cabela's
I go
the
in there one time and
sports people don't really care.
They don't
about
care.
the mask stuff,
especially if you're in the gun section. Because they're like, dude, I just have to wear this because I'm working.
The people
right
that really get a hard on for telling people to wear the mask is like if you went to like Barnes and Noble or you went to like Best Buy or some shit. Like
I will lick a book if they tell me to put on a mask.
Lick the book.
I will go. It's a book I'll buy because I'll have to buy it. But like I'll just go up and be like, what are you gonna do now?
Don't come near me, motherfucker.
Call the cops.
Run away in fear. They're like, ah.
It's like, you ever watch The King of Queens?
No.
There's an episode he goes in to get an ice cream cone and it's like $3 and he pays with a 20 and he's like, I don't have any change. I don't have change for a 20, man. And he's like, well, I want this ice cream cone. He's like, well, I don't have any change for a 20. And he goes, but all I have is a 20. And he goes, well, I don't know what to tell you. And like Kevin James just looks at the cashier and just licks the ice cream cone.
I'm trying to think because like there is like times like okay, so like I fly to Vegas and like I'm in the airport, I got my mask on, but actually no, I took it off when I'm sitting down because who cares,
right?
But like I go over to it's the Omaha airport, so there's no like actual like store, it's just a section where there's magazines.
Oh, they got
and
the
headphones.
shitty coffee shop, yeah.
And I go over there and like I have a drink in hand, I'm sipping it, and she goes, "You need to wear a mask," and I'm like, but I'm sipping my drink.
Right.
But you need to wear a mask.
I'm supposed to sip through the mask.
And I'm like, I'm right. I'm just okay, fine. I'm gonna buy overpriced headphones anyway, so who cares? Like, I'm not trying to deal with this right now. But like, because too bad I didn't have a direct flight. Because if I did, I was gonna wait till I'm like 30 minutes for the airport, just take off my mask. And it's like, sir, you need to put your mask on. What are you gonna do? A forced landing to where I need to go? Okay.
Well, that's like my girlfriend was flying to see her parents in Arizona with her dog, right? And she had she is like a kennel and she had to get this special stuff to like bring her dog as a carry-on. And I remember, one of the conditions of bringing your dog, it was like the flight attendants can ask you at any time to leave the flight. I'm like, what are they going to give her, a parachute? Like how are they going to ask you to leave in the middle of a flight?
I think
probably before, yeah, but it was worded funny.
We need the airplanes now to have like the big like cargo, like on the 130s, the big cargo door on the back, because I don't want any emergency exits. Like, hey, need to leave, and then just everyone seatbelts on,
I'm out.
You need to leave, and
Fuck
it just starts dropping.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, they're a private company, man. They could do that.
They can do whatever.
They could just kick you out the fucking door if they wanted.
You signed the waiver.
Private business.
You signed the waiver.
You remember when they pulled that Chinese guy, that doctor, when they like 4 flight attendants pulled him out of his seat? How fucked up that was. And I'm like,
oh yeah, dude.
You know, seeing old people get ripped from their seats is kind of comical. There's something funny about it.
What could you get away with as a private company if everyone signed a waiver? Because no one reads it.
Pretty much anything, man. Like, look at that. There's a haunted house. Is it in California or Vegas?
Oh, it's California. I think
they can like sexually assault you, literally.
They like force feed you like worms and stuff. Yeah,
I think stuff like that would just bring away like somebody filing like an individual lawsuit or something against a company. But I'm sure if like the state government was like got a wild hair up their ass, they'd probably come down on like companies that doing that kind of stuff.
But they don't because they signed a waiver.
There's one in Vegas, and it's called, I forget, it's like Freakling Brothers or something like that. And it's called The Victim Experience. And I don't know how they do it, but you simulate being killed by a firing squad, like mauled by a rabid dog.
Do they waterboard you? Like,
how do you simulate?
And then the last one you simulate is sexual assault. I don't know how that's simulated, but you sign a waiver.
You do just sit in the fucking New York City
the
subway station, dude.
They go in the New York Jets locker room.
This is a sexual assault victim experience, all right? You're a staffer for a Democratic national candidate. No one's going to believe you.
No one will. Seth Rich in this motherfucker.
All right, here's the
other.
There
will be photos of him doing it to you, and still nobody will care.
All right, here's another victim experience. You're the best staffer on this Republican candidate list. They're gonna hate you.
All right, we just did like an hour and a half.
We did.
Yeah, dude.
That was a lot of content.
It's fun.
That's fun. That's fun podcast. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Are we done recording right now?
No, we're still recording. Jacob
well, I mean,
Wilson,
like
everybody.
what you're gonna edit out though. Oh wait, no, yeah, we haven't done our plug.
Can you edit out the real sports joke about basketball? Like as much funny as that is, like that's...
the real sports. What are you talking about?
Well,
nobody will care about that. You'll be fine.
All right.
You'll be fine.
Sure. We'll see.
We do always ask our guests, Jacob, what are you doing, man? You got some plugs?
Anything you want to plug?
I have no plugs.
Perfect.
Actually. I am not at this moment on any show because I don't know.
He was on mine last week.
I was on yours, and other than that, like I host trivia at Benson Brewing, 7:00 every Thursday.
Fuck yeah!
There you go.
It's fun. That's
a plug, man.
Yeah,
he's
Benson
got plugs.
Brewing.
He just couldn't.
Do you do karaoke too, or no?
No, we don't do karaoke. Just trivia, and it's random. It's random, so don't ask for any like some type of category. It's like I'm not control that. I'll just make fun of you for not knowing the answers.
Famous suicides. that's the category.
That'd be a good trivia. Yeah, that'd be some good trivia.
One last thing. There's a joke that I have because like I don't create the questions.
Right.
But one of the questions asked was like, all right, this avid public transit user became a civil rights icon in the late 1950s. They described Rosa Parks as an avid public transit user. In this question, what historical figures are you going to start labeling as off-brand? Like, wow, what public speaker led Germany to economic recovery?
What aspiring artist?
Yeah, there you go.
What avid convertible lover became president of the United States? Like, how are we going to describe historical figures?
What frequent theater goer who became a president of the United States?
What Islamic scholar later on traveled to New York City?
What MIT grad took down an IRS building in Oklahoma?
That actually sounds like a trivia question.
It's true. They're all true.
That would actually be a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, I host trivia. Benson Brewing, 7:00 every Thursday.
Fuck yeah. Jacob Wilson, everybody. It's Bread Circuses. Peace the fuck out, motherfuckers.
Doses.